Welcome to the session. The session is about functions. Whenever we start with any programming language, there is something called as functions. We say it as functions. What is functions? Group of statements combined together in a single block, we call it as functions. I'll repeat, group of statements combined together. Group of statements combined together under single block, we call it as function. Okay, what do you mean by group of statements? Let me say that I want to do addition of two numbers. Let me say a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 5. If you want to do addition of two numbers, I'll say c is equal to a plus b, then I say print c. Okay, so once again I want to add two more numbers, which is 7 and 8. So what I do again, a is equal to 7, then we say a is equal to 8, b is equal to 8, then we say c is equal to a plus b, then we say print c. Now I need to add number 8 and 9. So what happens? Again I will say a is equal to 8, okay, b is equal to 9, then we say c is equal to a plus b. Just imagine, whenever you want to add two numbers, you must keep on repeating this operation again and again and again and again. Is there any simple way of doing it so that once I write the code, so that I can execute whenever I want? Yes, that is what called as functions. So what is function? All these statements, whatever you have written, name it under one block, which is called as functions. You mean to say that all these under one block, I can give some name to it? Yes. So what I do here is, I say something like def, then I say add. Okay, def add, open the bracket, close the bracket, and say is 2. So here what happens? Def in Python mean to say you are defining the function. Def is a syntax, add is a function name, open bracket, close bracket is 2, then we say a is equal to 3, b is equal to 5, c is equal to a plus b, then we see print c. Now you just define the function. Now if you run this, what happens? You won't get any output. Why? Because you are just defining the function. You need to call it, right? If you want to call the function, what we do function calling. I just say add. Okay, one more important thing what we need to understand is, wherever we see this bracket, this is called as functions. Wherever we see bracket, this is called as functions. Okay, now when I say add, when I call add onto the compiler, I'll be getting output as 5 plus the 8. That's it. But we got to know that we need to add 7, 8, 8, 9, correct, right? But this particular add will add only 3 and 5 always. Your code has to be generic, right? We need to write a generic coding. If that's the case, what to do? What to do is, I'm not writing a static definition. I'm not defining this 3 as static. I'm not defining this 5 as static. Rather, I am putting it as dynamic. So how to write a dynamic code is the next question. What we do is, the general syntax of defining a function is def followed by the function name. Okay, here what I do is, I'll just give two spaces, one for a, other one for b, and I put is 2. Here what happens is, I have two variables. One variable is a, other variable is b, so that whenever user pass add with two numbers, the first number which comes and sits in the place of a, the second number which comes and sits in the place of b. Now when I do c is equal to a plus b, every time the code is dynamic. I say print c. So what happens in this case? Now this is a function what I have defined. I am just deleting the previous function case. I am no more using this function, the new function what I have created. Now what happens? I'll be doing something like add, then I say 6, 5. When I do add of 6, 5, what will be the output? Whatever is there in 6, here the 6 will go and sit in a. 6 goes and sits in a. So what is there in b place? So whatever b comes and sits in 5. So the 6 will be sitting in a, 5 will be sitting in b. So a plus b, which 6 plus 5 will be again 11. The output would be 11. Now when I say add, then I say add of 10, 11. Now what happens? 10 will go and sit in a, 11 will go and sit in b. Again c is equal to a plus b. Print c will be the output. What we need to understand is, okay, we are defining a function by name def. The common syntax is def followed by the function name, open bracket, this space reserved for your arguments, do some operation and end it. So here this is called a statement number 1, this is called statement number 2. So group of statements combined together under one block is called as functions. Okay, So in the first case we saw static function where we are just defining always a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 5. Yes, in this case is different. In the second case what we are doing is we are making the code dynamic. Dynamic in terms of I am taking the value of a plus b from the user who is calling add. What we need to understand is here we have two concepts. One is call as, okay, calling function and called function, which we'll be discussing later, which is calling function and called function, which we'll be discussing later. As of now you must understand that we are making our code very dynamic in terms of, okay, we are not giving the static values of a and b, we are taking the values of a and b from the person who is calling the add function. This is either way. But usually what happens, okay, this is one more problem here. What happens is user says, boss, you don't print the value of c. What you do is you just give me the value of c, I will take it and I'll use it later. Mean to say, you don't print the result, just do addition and give me back the result so that I'll use it somewhere else. If that's the case, what we do now is I define one more function by name def, this remains the same. Then I say add, this remains the same. Then I say a comma b, this remains the same. Here what I'll do c is equal to a plus b. From now on I don't print c, rather I will return c. In this case what happens, since I am returning c, internally whatever happening in c, that result would be returned to the fellow who is calling this add. Oh, if that's the case, then how to define it? Just understand, if add is accepting two numbers, you need to pass two numbers, right? Previously we passed 7 and 8, 2 and 3. But now add is returning something, mean to say you must catch it. If that's the case, first what I'll do as add, then I'll say 3 comma 4. Okay, then what happens? Add 3 will go and sit in a, 4 will go and sit in b, then c is equal to a plus b, which is 3 plus 4 7, 7 will be given back to c, then return c, that is this particular c is been returned back to you. The program execution will do from right to left. We discussed previously, it happens from right to left. So now what happens is add of 3 comma 4 has been executed. Since it is returning some result, I will catch in a variable called as res. This can be any name for that matter. Here it is c, it can be res here, it can be res1, res2 or z or c1 or c2 or in fact c also. That is not a matter for us, but it's just a variable name what we are actually trying to catch. Now what happens, the result of add 3 comma 4 would be given back to res. Now when I say print res, output would be here 3 plus 4, which is 7. Output would be 7 is your output. Okay, if you say no, I don't want to print the result later, I want to do res is equal to res plus 1, then what happens? Yes, res has 7 now, 7 plus 1 is 8, so result would be having 8. Later you can print it. But what we need to understand overall is, whenever we say functions, functions is a group of statements combined together in a single block. Okay, that is number one. Whenever we define a function, we have something called as arguments. Let us make things very much clear again. So I just put a template here. The template is the function def followed by function name. Function name can be anything. Function name. Then the space for your arguments. Here you can pass any arguments. Here is for arguments. Then here we have statements. Here we have statements. How many number of statements you want, you can write. Be careful about the indentation. Okay, be very careful about the indentation. Whenever we define in the Python code, you must not write C here. If you write C here, if you start writing your code here, it becomes complete mistake. You're not supposed to do that. Whenever you start a new block, when you're starting something new, there must be always a tab space. See, there's a tab space what I have maintained. I want everyone to maintain the tab space here. Okay, now I have n number of statements which has been defined. This statement number 1, statement number 2, statement number 3, and so on. It continues. Okay, if you want to return something, you can use return. This is a general syntax of how to define a function. If that's the case, now we make our code much more dynamic. Much more dynamic in terms of I will not pass this a 3 and 4. Rather than that, if you ask me, okay, is there any way that I will ask the user, please enter the value of A, so that user will enter A. Please enter the value of B, so that user will enter B. I will catch that and I will give the result. Is there any option to do that? If that's the case, what to do? Okay, let's discuss that. Now what happens? I'll define one more function by name def once again. I say def, then I say add. Okay, then I don't pass any arguments here. I'll just put like this. Then now I say I have put some tab space here, indentation. I say print and enter value of A. I say enter value of A. So once when I say enter the value of A, user will enter some value, right? I need to scan that A, right? I need to scan that A. In Python, there is no scanner class. This is input function. Okay, we have something called as input function. This input function scans something and put it back to the variable. I say input of, then I'll say store this in A. I'll input something and store it in A. Again, I'll ask print enter the value of B. I say enter value of B. Now let us see what happens. I say enter value of B. Now I say B is equal to input. I'll say B is equal to input. Okay, now whatever input is there, that will put it back to B. Now what happens, I need to add C is equal to A plus B. Then I say print C. In this case, what is the output expected? When I run this, what happens? User will ask enter the value of A. So when I enter the value of A, it will be used. Let us assume that when I run this code, I've defined the code. When I do this, you don't get any output because you just defined the function. You need to call it, right? How to call it? I just say add. I'll just say add, so that the output you get as print enter the value of A. So user onto the monitor, you'll be getting something like enter value of A. Okay, so now you'll get enter value of A, so that you'll get A is equal, you can enter, user enters 3, let us assume. Next I'll say enter the value of B. Okay, ask something like enter value of B. Enter value of B. User enters 4. Now what happens? I'll do A plus B, which is 7. Then I'll put it back to C. The output 7 would be printed onto the screen. This is what is happening. Okay. Now our code is much more dynamic. But if you run this code, you will not get output as 7. Rather, you'll get the output as 34. Big problem. Why is it so? Why it's so? Because whenever you use this input function, the input function by default accepts string but not a number. When I say enter the value of A, when I say enter the value of A, this A is actually a string but not a number. So 3 is considered as string, 4 is considered as string, string plus string. So 3 and 4 concat together, so you get output as 34. Is that so? Then how to do it? How to avoid this? How to avoid this is don't directly write input. Rather than that, you must do something like this. Int of input. This concept is actually called as typecasting. Int of input. When I say int of input, what happens? When I say int of input, whatever the input function you have taken from the user, that would be converted to the number, then it will be stored in B. Here also, whatever you enter, that would be converted to number, that would be stored in int. Okay, we'll be seeing about the typecasting later, but as of now you must understand whatever the user enters the value of A and the value of B, that will be taken as an input. By the input function, it will be converted to a number that will be stored back to A. Here also the same happens. Now if you run this code, the output we can expect is 7 and no more, it is 34. This is what we need to understand. Okay, let us revise from beginning. So we saw the functions, we got to know what is functions. We got to know the functions in the first case number 1 about the function, where the function without arguments. Okay, function without arguments, correct? We didn't pass any arguments for the first type function. Okay, I'll give an example also. Function without arguments and without return type. This is a kind of function. There's no arguments and there's no return type. Example here is, let me take something like add, def add. Okay, I'm defining a function. I'm not taking any arguments are not there. I just say A is equal to 3 here, I say B is equal to 2 here, then I say C is equal to A plus B, then I say print C. This is case number 1, where I'm not accepting anything as an input and I'm not returning anything. Now comes case 2. In case 2, what happens? Here it has function with arguments. Okay, it has function with arguments and without return type. Okay, function with arguments and without return type. So what is this with argument and without return type? You must understand that it accepts the argument. I'll say something like def add, it accepts 2 parameters by name A comma B, then I say C is equal to A plus B, then I say print C. I'm not returning anything provided I'm accepting 2 numbers. So this is defined. Now when I say add of 3 comma 5, 3 goes and sits in A, 5 goes and sits in B. This second case. Third case of function, we say as a case 3. In case 3, what happens? Function with arguments and function with return type. This is function with arguments and function with return type. Okay, what is with argument and with return type? What is this? In this case, we saw case number 3 where I say something like def add of a comma b, then I say c is equal to a plus b, then I say return c. That is, I am accepting two parameters, I am returning back to it. While calling this function, it has to be like this: c1 is equal to add of 3 comma 5. That is, you're passing two parameters, addition will do addition and it will return back the result c. You must catch that in c1. So these are the three different cases of function what we need to understand. At the last, we understood how to take function as an argument. That is, function input, input as an argument. We use something like int of input. Okay, so that input directly accepts the string. We don't want to accept as a string, so we are typecasting it. We are converting the string to integer. We understood how to do this, then we did addition. So these are 4 different cases of how to write the functions. Okay, the same happens for all the different kinds of functions. By default there are few functions. Okay, whenever we say function, by default the system would be provided few functions. This is called as default functions, or else we can say something like something known as predefined functions. We call something like predefined function, something like print. Okay, print, when I say open bracket to close bracket, this is a function. Yes, so you are not defining anything from print, you are just print and you are passing some argument like hello. So the functionality of print is defined in such a way that whatever the argument you pass here, that will be printed onto the monitor. So there are a set of statements, which has been written for print. So print is a function. Do we have any other function? Yes, we saw something like an id function, correct? So id function, we are also passing some from argument to it. Id is a function. We saw something like a type of. Okay, we saw type of function. So type of function also, it is a function. So whenever you see the bracket like this and the bracket like this, this is also called as functions. These are called as predefined functions. Okay, so if you want to write your customized function, you can define your own function, something like def followed by function name, open bracket, close bracket, is to, and the statements. Be careful about your indentation. This is what about the theory session, what we had about functions. We have something called as anonymous functions, which we'll be discussing later. We have something known as anonymous function. If you are interested, you can learn this now, or else we'll be discussing this later. We have something called as anonymous functions, or it's also called as lambda functions, which are called as lambda functions. Okay, this is a part of more interesting concept in Python about lambda functions, which we can see later. On the whole, you must understand this anonymous function and lambda functions are also there in Python. Anonymous function means to say does not have name. This is also called as lambda functions. Let's jump to practicals. So in our theory session, we understood that if I want to add two numbers, which is a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2, c is equal to a plus b, we can just have a variable 1, which we have a number 1 and put it to a variable a, have a number 2, put it to a variable b, then I do c is equal to a plus b, then I do print c. Okay, when I run this, I'll be getting output as 3. I'll just restart the kernel. Now I have, if you add, if you want to add two more numbers, which is 7 and 8, what I want to do, I say a is equal to 7 and I say b is equal to 8, then I do c is equal to a plus b, then I say print c. Again I need to add this. Now next time if you want to add two more numbers, let us say like on 10 and 20, what I must do, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, c is equal to a plus b. How many times will you repeat this if you want to add the numbers always? Is there any solution for this? As you can see in the previous case, we'll keep on repeating the same code again and again. You can see the code is repeated again and again. So is there any solution? Is there any solution so that I don't want to always do this addition? Rather, if I put in a single block, I can just pass some numbers so that you're getting an output. For example, I say something like def add, which is defining addition function. Def add, open bracket, close bracket, is to a is equal to 7, b is equal to 8, c is equal to a plus b, print c. Now I'm defining a function by name add. Okay, def add mean to say you're defining a function by name add, which is having the opening bracket and closing bracket. Whenever you see the opening bracket and the closing bracket like this, you must understand it is a function. What you pass inside are the arguments. We'll come to the arguments later. So here I've defined a is equal to 7, b is equal to 8, then we do c is equal to a plus b, then I'm printing c. If I run this now, you will be not getting any output. Why you're not getting any output? Because you just defined a function. Did you call it? No, right? So I need to call the function. How to call that function? Just say add. Now if you call that function add, we will see the output, which is 15, would be printed onto the screen. But here also you must understand, whenever I call add, I'll call add function once again. If I call add function once again, you'll be getting 15 again. Add once again, you'll be getting 15. But I want to change the numbers. I want to change the numbers as and then. If that's the case, what to do? What to do is, you must be having a flexibility to pass whatever number you require, rather than making the number constant. So in this case, what we are doing is, I'm defining the function once again, the same add function we are defining once again, and I'm passing the arguments, which is a comma b. In this case, I'm doing c is equal to a plus b, then I say print c. When I run this, you can see here as an output, okay, that the function add is expecting two parameters, which is a and b. We are doing addition of a and b and putting the result back to c, and I'm printing c. As you can understand, again, I don't get any output because you just defined the function and we are not called the function. Here, a and b are called as arguments. That is, whoever called this add function must pass these arguments, must pass this number a and b. Okay, that is the case. How to call that? I am calling the add function here and I am passing two numbers, which is 10 and 20. When I pass two numbers 10 and 20, 10 will go and sit in A, 20 will go and sit in B. Then again 10 plus 20, 30 will be added and the result will be back in C. Then I am printing that C. Now when I add this 10, 20, you must be getting output as 30. Now you are very flexible. If you want to give the numbers as 11 and 22, yes, you can give. You can add any numbers for this matter. I'll just do this. We're getting output as 33. This is other case. Case number 1 we saw here, where we didn't have any arguments. The function was static. We were adding always 7 and 8. Case number 2, we're accepting the parameters, which is a and b. Case number 3 again, where I will add a and b, but I will not print the result. Rather, I will add a plus b and put it in C, and I'm returning C. That is, I'm throwing back C. Mean to say, whoever called this add function must be able to catch the result because he is returning something. When you are passing arguments, add is accepting it, right? Similarly, when you are returning the argument, someone must accept it. Who must accept? Who must accept this? Like person who is calling this add function must accept the result. We will see how this happens. I'm just redefining the function add. Okay, now I am saying add of 10 comma 20 and I'm putting the result as C, which is C is equal to add of 10 comma 20, and I say print C. We can return here. You can see that whatever the addition of 10 and 20 has happened, this 10 and 10 will go and sit in this A, 20 will go and sit in this B. Addition of A and B, which is 10 plus 20, will be added and the result will be put it back to C, and I'm returning C. That C would be cached in this variable by name C. Now the question comes, since because you're returning C here, the argument, the value what you're catching must also be C? No. We are not concerned about the variable names. We are concerned about the number of variables. Correct? I'm returning C here, mean to say that I'm accepting C. That is, C is equal to add of A comma B, and I say print C. It can be not only C, it can be result also. See, here I'm adding A add of 10 comma 20 and accepting the result in RES. This is also fine, because now when I say print RES, you must be getting an output. You can see the result is 30. This is one more way of passing the functions. Okay, that is, we are passing the arguments 10 and 20. Correct? So we saw three different forms. Okay, we saw three different forms. One is the function which does not have any arguments and the numbers were constant. Second case, we were accepting the arguments. Third case, we were returning the result after adding. These are three different cases of calling the functions. Now let us make the code much more dynamic. You must get a question that, okay, we are passing the number 10 and 20 manually. Is there any other way where the compiler will ask me a question? Enter the value of A, enter the value of B. Yes, we have that. When you ask the question, enter the value of A, enter the value of B, then you need to scan that, right? Is there a scanner class in Python? Yes, the scanner class in Python is nothing but input function, which we discussed in our theory session. Okay, so enter the value of A is equal to input. Enter the value of B is equal to input. Then I say C is equal to add of A comma B. And one more thing, no need to return, no need to now do C is equal to A plus B once again, because we already defined the add function. We are calling the same add function here. That is, we have already defined the add function. We are setting the parameters A and B. I am calling the same add function here also. But I am accepting two numbers, which is A and B. I have defined a function by name accept two numbers. Okay, I'm defining a function by name accept two numbers. So I say df accept two numbers, and I say print enter the value of A, print enter the value of B. Then I will call add A comma B, then accept the result in C, then I'm printing that C. Let's see how this works. Okay, now I already defined function. Okay, I already defined the function a and b. Fine. So what we do now is I'll call that function. Let's say I'll call that function accept two numbers. As I told you, we have just defined the function. We need to call that, right? I say accept two numbers. Okay. Now I'll just run this. When we run this, it is asking enter the value of a. I say 10. Enter the value of b. I say 20. Oh, we must accept 30, right? But actually, we are accepting 30. It is giving me 10, 20. Why is it so? Because it is concatenating. It is not doing addition. Okay, why it is not doing addition? That's the important question again. Why? Because you have your input function, okay, which we already discussed in theory. We have this input function. This input function accepts string by default. It is not integer. Okay, so when I say input is no more. When I say input, this a is no more an integer. It is just a string. This b is no more an integer. It's just a string. So here 10 plus 20, it would be 1020 will be the output, because it is string concatenation and is not normal integer addition. Oh, if you ask then, okay, how to do the integer addition? Is there any way to do the integer addition? Yes, we have a way to do the integer addition. How to do that? How to do that is, we have the concept of typecasting. What is typecasting? We have something like converting the one data type to the other data type. That is, by default the input function will accept the string, but we need to convert the string to integer. That is, I say enter the value of a, then I say int of input. Whatever the input you accept, convert that to integer. Whatever the input you expect here, convert that to integer. So I say c is equal to add of a comma b, then I say print c. This is the same function as before. The only change here is we added int of input. That is, we are typecasting. Whatever we are taking as input is no more a string, it will be an integer. Now let us see how this addition function will work. Okay, syntax error. We'll see what is syntax error there. Oh, it is not print, it is accept. I'll just change that. Okay, we have def accept two numbers. I just def accept two numbers. So we have a code. Then the accept already done. I'll add a new cell here. Then I call accept two numbers here. Okay, I call the function accept two numbers. I'll just run it. Now I say enter the value of a. I say 10. Enter the value of b. I say 20. Now we can see it is 30. Got it? Okay, so now we saw three different functions, which is function with parameters without return type, which is add one. The first case what we saw, okay, that is we does not have here, I'll just name it as add one. Here the function does not have any return type, the function does not have any arguments. This is add one. I'll just say it as def add one. Okay, that is not accepting any parameters, it's not giving any return type also. Now we have add 2, which is accepting some arguments and not returning anything. Similarly, I have add 3, which says I'm accepting 2 parameters and I'm returning the return type. This is add 3. So these are the 3 different ways where we can call the functions, and that these are different type of calling the functions. Okay, we also saw dynamic function which accepts the parameter or arguments from the user. Correct? We saw dynamic functions, which mean to say that you ask the user print enter the value of a, you ask the user print enter the value of b, user entered the value of a and b, you scanned it, then you did addition. Yes, that is called as dynamic function again. Okay. Now, which we are not discussed in theory, which is about the lambda function, okay, which is also called as anonymous functions. Anonymous functions are nothing but the lambda functions. What is lambda function? This is the advanced functionality which is present in Python programming language. Usually what we do is, we want our program to be very much dynamic and we don't want to waste our space and time for the function execution. We will not define the function and keep it ready. We will use the function as and when we want. This means to say that in Python, a lambda function is a single line function declared with no name. That is, does not have a name, which can have any number of arguments. It can have any number of arguments, but it can have only one expression. Okay, such a function is capable of behaving similarly to a regular function defined using the Python def keyword. We will see what is this. Just read with the definition after having this notes. Okay, now what we do is, I'll just give an example how the lambda function will look. Okay, see here we have defined a function by name reminder of 2. I'm accepting the parameter by name a, then I'm doing a mod 2. What is modulus operation, right? What modulus operation will do? 5 mod 2 will give you the reminder. 5 mod 2, the answer is 1. 6 mod 2, what is the answer? It is 0, because 2 3s are 6, the remainder what you get is 0. This is reminder of 2 is my program, is my function name. So I say def reminder of 2. I'm accepting the parameter my name a. So I say a mod 2, then I put it back in reminder. Then I say print rem. Okay, so I just run this code. So it says the remainder is 0 because I'm passing 6. If I pass 7, you must get the remainder as 1. That also makes sense. Okay, now the same function which is remainder of 2, I can write in a single line which is called as lambda function. How is that? I just say lambda, then I say num mod 2, I say num mod 2, this is the expression what I'm accepting, lambda num mod 2, and whatever the parameter I accept is called as num. We mean to say I say remainder of 2, then I'm passing 5. Okay, you can see the same function what I have declared here, I'm redefining once again in a single line. So how lambda expression will look? Lambda arguments expression, lambda, these are the argument what I'm accepting, this is 5, then expression, it is 5 mod 2, the return, whatever the result I get would be given back to as a result. Okay, so when I run this, you'll get the same output as the previous function. Great. Can you give one more example for lambda function? Yes, I can give one more example for lambda function. See, I have the lambda, yes, the syntax is lambda, then arguments, x comma y is the arguments, then what is the expression you want to do? I need to multiply x into y. Okay, the result will be given back to product. So when I run this, I just call this expression, I just call this lambda expression as product, then I pass 2 comma 3, 2 and go and sit in x, 3 will go and sit in y, the 2 and 3 will get multiplied, then the output will be printed automatically because I say a print product of 2 comma 3, so you must be getting an output as 6. Yes, you got it. So rather than defining the complete function like this, okay, the lambda function will be help us to solve the issue within a single line. This is about the lambda function where we basically use in Python most of the cases. Okay. Why do we use lambda function? The question again. Why do we use lambda function? Answer 1. If you want function to be passed as arguments, that is, if you want the function only to be passed as arguments, not the value, I will repeat. People who are feeling this lambda function very difficult, please don't worry. If you practice, you'll get the solution. Okay, because it's an advanced topic in Python. Why do we use lambda functions? The question. Answer 1. If you want function to be passed as argument, you don't want the variables to be passed as an argument. Till now we saw in the previous case where we were passing the variables as an argument. But if you want function only to be passed as an argument, then we want to use lambda function. Okay, answer 2. Want to pass function as an argument to high order function. That is, one function can be passed as an argument to one more function. Let's give an example to you. When I say def test func, I am accepting a number. I say return lambda x into num, something like this, which means to say that I am accepting a number which is num. Okay, then I am calling test func, and in test func I am calling 10. This 10 will go and sit in this num. Okay, then it says x into num. Okay, what's x into num? That is, whatever the number I pass here will get multiplied with this 10 and I'll be getting an output. Mean to say the test func of 10 I'm putting back to result 1. Result 1 I'm calling once again, then I'm passing this 9, so you'll be getting an answer. That is test func of 10. That is, number 10 will go and sit in num. Okay, result 1 I'm passing 9. 9 will go and sit in x. Okay, so 9 into 10, which is 90, will be printed onto the screen. That is, function itself is passed as an argument. That is what we are seeing here. We get an output as 90. This is an advantage of calling the lambda functions. Okay, advantage of calling lambda function is function itself can be passed as an argument. As simple as that. Can you give one more example for lambda function? Yes. Let me see something like this. I have test 2. Okay, here I have test 2. Okay, then I have num. Okay, I have num, and then I say test func. Okay, I call test func. Then I say test func of 1000. Then I'm passing 9 here, result 2 of 9. Okay, test func of 1000, whatever you get, you put back to result 2. That result 2 I'm passing 9. This 1000 will go and sit in num. This 9 will go and sit in x. Okay, the output what you get would be 9000. You just see the output. Yes. This is how the lambda function will be helping you while doing programming. As simple as that. Why do we require lambda functions? Lambda functions are required to make our code very sleek and simple, and rather than redefining the code in multiple lines, the equation can be written in a single line. That's an advantage of lambda function. One more advantage of lambda function is it can be passed as an argument. This is about the lambda functions. The one more concept what we wanted to discuss with lambda function is there is 3 function which is associated with lambda function. One is map, other one is reduce, and the other one is filter. These are 3 important functions about the lambda function. What is map, what is reduce, and what is filter. Let us take an example here. Okay, these are 3 different functions associated with lambda function, which is very important. When I say number list, I have a list. Hope everyone knows what is a list now, because we discussed the list in the data structures. Okay, so we have already defined the list. The list has 2, 6, 8, 10, 11, 4 and all these numbers. Now what I wanted to do is, we saw 3 different functions, which is map, reduce and filter. How do we use this? Okay, let me give an example there. When I say filter command, filter actually accepts an object, then iterates with each and every element of this object. I will repeat, filter will accept an object, it iterates. Iterate means to say each and every element will be taken automatically rather than any human intervention. Without any human intervention, the number automatically will be iterated. That is, you have here 2, 6, 8, 10, 11, 4, right? Manually there is no required to say number list of 0, where 2 comes into picture, number list of 1, where 6 comes into picture, number list of 2, 8 comes into picture. No. When you use filter, automatically it will try to extract the data and it will give the solution what it gives. It solves the expression what you given in the lambda case. Example, I have an expression by name lambda num, where num is the number what you are passing. The number is greater than 7. Okay, number is greater than 7. Only filter those numbers. Mean to say, filter those numbers where number is greater than 7. And the number what you get, where did you get this number? It is from the number list, because this is an iterable object. No need to externally pass, okay, number list of 0, number list of 1, number list of 2. No, automatically it will take the iterable object, then it will print the output back to list. I will repeat, the filter command accepts two arguments. One is object, the other one is iterable. Object is actual list and iterable is an iterative element what you want to do. For example, 2, 6, 8, 10, 11, 4, 12, whatever we have here, all these numbers is an object. You want to iterate through this, right? So we can pass an iterable, means to say we need to pass an iterable object here, as simple as that. So what I do here is, I am writing a lambda expression which filters any number which is greater than 7. Where did you get the number? The number I am getting from the number list. Let us see the output now. As you can see, I am getting only 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17 and 21. This is the advantage of using lambda expression with the filter function. These are the advanced function which is present in Python, where people need to practice with a lot of examples. Just keep in your mind, whenever you get a use case to use this, you can solve using this. You can start using all these functions as and then required. Okay, this is about the filter function. Let us jump to the map function. What map function will do? Map function again accepts an object and the iterable. Same, it accepts a lambda expression, then iterable object. But what map function will do? What map function will do is, it will be the same iterable what we had in the filter command. The same thing would be done, provided it would be printed with each and every element as it is. For example, you can see num mod 2, mean to say 2 mod 2 is what? 0. So 0 has been printed here. No need of your intervention with the function to pass each and every value. Automatically the list is mapped with the expression. I'll repeat, automatically the list is mapped with the expression. The number list is mapped with the expression. The number list is mapped with the expression. Each and every time, every element is mapped with this expression, then you're getting the output in the form of list. This is about the map function. Just like your list function, just like your filter function, but filter function will filter only the condition which is satisfied, but the map function will map each and every element and prints the output as it is. Beautiful, right? We can see the lot of effort for the programmer is been reduced because of this lambda function. Good. Now we have a last function which is reduce function. What reduce function will do? Reduce function is again, we can pass a list here. I can just show an example of the reduce function where you have a list where we have a lambda expression. Reduce lambda expression where I am passing the argument as x comma y, then I say x plus y, then I pass the list. I am passing the list again. Again you can see it is an iterable object. List is an iterable object. This is an expression. What I am doing, I am passing x comma y, then I say x plus y. Each and every time the 47 will be given as x, 11 will be given as y, then again 11 will be given as x, 42 will be given as y, 42 will be given as x, 13 will be given as y. Every element automatically will be iterated so that the final output will be addition of all these numbers. That is 47 plus 11 plus 42 plus 13. It is reducing to a single expression. This is the advantage of your reduce function. Okay, let us see the output. You can see 113. That is, each and every element automatically will be iterated. Then the output will be as expected with a single reduced expression. This is about your reduce function. Beautiful. So what we expected here, we understood the lambda function. The lambda function basically helps us doing a lot of things where the multiple lines of code can be written in a single line. It can be passed as an argument. Lambda expression is supported by three different functions, which is map, reduce and filter. Very important to understand. We understood what map will do, we understood what reduce will do, we understood what filter will do. Our assignment question basically is built on all this expression, and we want you people to solve the assignment to get a better hold on these expressions. Okay, the last part of the function is about variable arguments in Python. What is variable arguments in Python? See, we used to pass an expression something like a comma b, correct? We used to pass a comma b, then we used to say c is equal to a plus b, then print c, where user had a flexibility to pass only two numbers, which is 3 and 4. If, for example, tomorrow one of our friend comes and say, okay, please, I need 4 numbers to be added, then what would you do? You need to create a function by name def add of a comma b comma c comma d, just like how we defined in the below case, where I need to add 3 numbers. I say def add of a comma b comma c, then I say add of 3 comma 4 comma 6. Now next time I want to add 5 numbers, then I must say a comma def add of a comma b comma c comma d comma e. This was the problem in the previous programming language, where as and then we pass the argument size will keep on increasing. But Python is such a beautiful programming language where we have an option called as variable arguments. What is variable arguments? What is variable arguments? I'll just do an example to you. See, in this case what happens, I say I defined a function by name mysum and I had given star integers. When I say star integers, the compiler understands, oh, whenever someone says star, it is a variable argument. That is, I must be very careful that user can pass any number of arguments as his wish. There is no restriction with the number of arguments. That's what the compiler understands. Okay, how this works? When I say star integer, we can see result is equal to integers of 0 plus integers of 1 plus integers of 2. That is, I am taking integers of 0th location, integers of first location, integers of second location, and it's up to the user to pass how many number of values he wants. Okay, I am utilizing this function and I say mysum, then I say 1 comma 2 comma 3. Since I am passing 3 variables, I am having only one argument, but it is variable argument because it is preceded with star. So whenever the compiler sees star, it understands, oh, it is a variable argument. I must be ready to accept how many number of arguments the user sends. Using that, here I can say integer of 0 plus integer of 1, but integer of 2. This is what we need to understand. I'll just run this code. You can see it is 1 plus 2 plus 3. That is what we are told here. Now the problem comes here. It says, okay, but we are not sure about the number of arguments, right? So give the responsibility to iterable object. Mean to say, okay, here you did integer of 0 plus integer of 1 plus integer of 2. Good. But if I pass somewhere like 4, you get an error, right? Because I was expecting 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10 as an output. But you will get an error. It says, the 4 will not be added because you are just adding integers. Whatever integers we have here, integers of 0, integers of 1, integers of 2. You are not added integers of 3. So again it's a problem. You don't worry. You just give it to the for loop. People who are not revised with the for loop, okay, please revise our loops and iterable statements, loops and condition statements, so that you'll get a better understanding how for loop would work. Okay, so what we do now is we just understand that I will give a responsibility to the for loop. I say for x in integers, so that automatically every time whatever the number we have in the integer, it would be taken automatically by the iterable object. That is, a different result is equal to 0, and I say x in integers. So whatever integers I have here, each and every number will be given to x. Then I say result is equal to result plus x. That is, result was 0 now. Now it will be 0 plus 1. Now 0 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 3 plus 4. Whatever you pass, that will be keep on adding. Then you can pass how many number of arguments you want. This is about variable arguments. See, I am passing 1 comma 2 comma 3. Now I can pass 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Then I say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. That's okay. It can handle because I am giving the responsibility for the iterable object. This is about the variable arguments with respect to the list. Now, is there any option for us to pass the dictionary? Yes. If you want to pass the dictionary as an argument, it is not single star, it is double star. Where we saw single star is for the list argument to be passed and double star is for the dictionary. Okay, can you give an example? Yes, again the same example here. You can just revisit this example, and you can see we are not just passing the we are just passing the dictionary so that it understands each and every element need to be added automatically. We can revise this code. We'll understand how exactly the star works for dictionary and single star works for the list element. This is all about the variable arguments, which is again very important to understand. Okay, and we want you to solve our assignment to have a better clarity on functions. Thank you.